Let's bring in Rice University history professor and author of the Reagan Diaries, Douglas Brinkley, for more. Doug, thanks so much for coming on. Russia sold Alaska to the United States in 1867. So what do you make of Trump and Putin holding this meeting there today?
Well, it's historic. It's bittersweet for Russia in the sense that they had to sell Alaska back then because they didn't want Britain to acquire that vast territory after the Crimean War. Hence, it's always considered our great real estate bargain in America, the United States buying of Alaska for $7 million plus dollars. The other thing to keep in mind is, it's been used as a stage in the diplomatic game before. Famously, Richard Nixon met Pope Paul II there, that he met Emperor Hirohito in Japan. Barack Obama used Alaska as his backdrop to try to talk about global climate change, which I doubt will be on the agenda, which is hard to believe between Putin and Trump. But it's a historic crossroads meeting here because we don't know whether this is just about a ceasefire peace in Ukraine, or can this extend into more topics which may be addressed quickly in a second summit.
Putin has shown a certain nostalgia for the former Soviet Union. Now you have Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov arriving in Anchorage wearing a Soviet Union sweater. Is that some foreshadowing of what's to come today?
I think largely that is a foreshadowing. I mean, ultimately, this is about the breakup of the Soviet Union in 1991. The United States, if you would like, actually won the Cold War. But since Putin's come back into power, he is trying to reconstitute traditional Russian expansionism. And he's done it in the Crimea, and he's done it now in Ukraine. And the fact that Ukraine is just not a NATO country, that big moment after the Cold War ended in 1990s, when all these countries, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia, many more started joining NATO, and Ukraine was kind of orphaned out there. And Putin has put his sights on it. It's been bloody. It's been dragging on. And in the end, it's a good thing that at least there's talking of peace, but it's odd that President Zelensky's not there in Alaska with them. But one can hope that this is just a kind of let's get going meeting, and you have a series of them like Reagan did when he met with Mikhail Gorbachev trying to reduce nuclear weapons.
And President Putin and President Trump have had a rocky relationship over the years. Sometimes Trump defends and compliments Putin. Other times he's criticizing and threatening him. How do you think that sets the stage for today's summit?
President Trump's, it's been almost odd how much he admires Vladimir Putin. It's been part of his script, really, since he first ran for office. People are always trying to understand, why does Trump side with Russia so often? But things have seemed to have turned. Perhaps it started in February on the telephone call that he had with Putin, but certainly by the spring, he seemed to start understanding that you can't trust anything Vladimir Putin does or says. Now, whether that was just a kind of truth social outburst by Donald Trump, a walk in the White House lawn, a moment where he said a couple of negative lines about Putin, or whether this is a new understanding that the president has, that we have to defend Zelensky and Ukraine, who are our great allies, and we've been doing such with military aid, but we're going to have to continue to protect the interest of Ukraine, and one hopes President Trump would be doing that at this meeting.
All right, history professor and author Douglas Brinkley. We appreciate it, Douglas. Thank you.
Thank you.